The sixth day of the siege, and the situation inside the embassy had deteriorated rapidly. Shots were heard at 2 o'clock, again at 7 o'clock. Just after 7, a body was dumped on the front steps. Police marksmen rushed forward at the crouch. A stretcher was brought up. It was soon obvious to those of us watching that the terrorists had shot dead one of the hostages. And police were told hostages would be shot at the rate of one every half hour.
Jack, get rolling.
The time for a decision on storming the embassy had come. In minutes, an SAS team were moving to their positions. Even as an Iranian mullah went to administer the last rites to the dead man, the attack was underway. ITN's camera at the rear of the embassy shows an SAS unit on the roof. The plan was for a simultaneous attack front and rear, using stun grenades to achieve maximum surprise and confusion. The SAS men at the rear abseiled down the building and planted their grenades.
They've got masks on.
Their colleagues did the same at the front, getting out of the way only just in time. The frame of grenades put in place by the SAS men did their work well. The windows were blown in, the curtains began to smoulder, smoke rose in a pall, and under the cover of that smoke, the SAS men went in. You can see them moving from the balcony to the interior. The problem now was to find the terrorists and locate the hostages, who were being held in several different rooms. PC Trevor Locke, the police hostage, appeared at the window waving his hat. This was a signal that he'd isolated the leader of the terrorists. And the shots you hear now are the shots that killed the leader. This was the moment when the storming of the embassy became a success. The first hostage to show was Sim Harris, the BBC sound recordist. He was brought through the window and told to wait, crouching on the balcony. A white flag was waved out of a second-floor window. This flag was to appear 3 times, and on each occasion, the shooting continued. At the rear of the building, marksmen covered all the exits. And at the front, smoke and flames gave cover to Sim Harris as he was ordered to jump over the balcony to the safety of next door. The large police cordon was now deployed into Hyde Park in an attempt to prevent the terrorists escaping. For good measure, a police surveillance helicopter flew low over the park. The fire was beginning to get a grip on the building. The barriers that had been in place for 6 days were torn down to let the fire engines through. But now the SAS had made the embassy secure. Police were able to start bringing out the hostages, wounded first, on stretchers. Still, no one was taking any chances. The marksmen stayed in place. The fire was good cover for friend and foe alike. As the fire hoses played, the body of a terrorist was brought out. A fleet of ambulances, doors open, engines running, stood by. And then the hostages were led out. Their fears were over. They walked upright, almost unhurriedly, towards the ambulances. You can see Sim Harris in the center of the group. And so the 6-day nightmare of the hostages was ended. The terrorists, all but one, were dead. The siege of the Iranian Embassy at 16 Prince's Gate in the heart of London was finished. In addition to the outside broadcast coverage, ITN had 6 film cameras deployed around the embassy, and this is what they saw. There was panic in the streets as the attack was launched and indiscriminate shooting began. This is a close-up view of the SAS unit fixing their frame grenades to the front of the building.
They're bombing it.
Now the SAS are inside the building. There's a lot of shooting inside. This is the time of the vital gun battle, which would decide whether the rescue would succeed or not. It was also the time of extreme danger for the hostages. The battle was won by the SAS, and the hostages were now just a few moments away from safety.